God gives us examples in multitude, making the suggestion that this is all chance events totally impossible. So here we have the situation where God is showing us that when God created the world, He actually knew in advance the human being that He was going to create. He actually knew the organs He was going to create. He actually knew what the organs were going to look like. And He created these foodstuffs to look like these organs, so that we, mankind, when we come on earth, we will know that these are foodstuffs for us, and we'll even be able to learn just by looking at them which part of the body is going to be benefited from it. If we're going to take the theory, now these are theories, okay? I am presenting to you a theory that God exists. And there is the counter theory that God does not exist, that we were by natural selection. Now, if we look at this theory of natural selection, it means we were a product of a chaotic event, a random event, a chance event, a mutation. And out of these mutations, man arose. But what happened? We are saying not just one mutation, a series of mutations, hundreds and thousands of changes, in order to arrive at this individual that we call the human being. What does science teach us about theories? What we know about theories is that if we cannot prove something, but we've got a whole lot of facts, we can put a theory to explain the facts. But the theory has got to explain the facts. In that none of the facts must be contradicted by the theory. And as long as that situation holds, we will accept the theory as explaining the situation. So our theory is that God exists because it explains everything that we can see. If we are going to, but if the theory does not explain the events, then that theory has to be abandoned. And any sane person would have abandoned the theory of evolution a long time ago, because it is a totally flawed and useless theory. Let us examine this theory of random selection. If human beings were created by random selection, it means there is a haphazard process taking place, that nothing was created by intelligent design, because there is no God. So light was not created, sound was not created, the earth was not created, gravity was not created. All of these things just happened by chance. Besides human beings and its millions and billions of variables happening by chance, earth and its millions and billions of variables happened by chance, and light just happened to come about by chance. But because we are talking about a fluctuating world, this thing that we call light will not be constant. It will be constantly changing, so that at one time light will have a particular characteristic and then another characteristic, and gravity would have a particular strength and then another strength, and then sound will have a particular. You get what I'm getting at? The extent of random selection and confusion and chaos will be so vast that it will be impossible for the human being to exist. And if he did exist, he would find that at one second he's being thrown off the earth because he's too light, and the next moment he's crashing to the earth because he's too heavy, and then one minute he's blind because suddenly the qualities of light has changed, and suddenly he can't hear because sound has changed. You get what I'm getting at? The theory of randomness and everything having to come about through chance does not fit with what we see, because what we are seeing is a stable world, is a constant world, a predictable world, and all of these things could not happen if it was not created in a fixed way, in a fixed manner. Now, has God shown us in a manner which the scientist can appreciate that he has created stability and he has created order in the universe? Yes, he has. Let us look at the periodic table of elements. To those of you who are not familiar with this, scientists have been studying everything that exists in nature, and we find that everything is made up of certain elements: hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon. We are familiar with these names. But when scientists study these, they come across a very incredible bit of observation, that every single substance in the world is unique, that no two substances are the same, though they may have certain characteristics in common. And when you take all the substances and you look at them, there's another amazing feature, that every one of them differs from the previous one from just one proton. Now, elements are made up of the nucleus, which is made up of protons and electrons, and there are other substances such as neutrons. Now, hydrogen, for example, has just one proton. Helium has 2. Lithium has 3. Beryllium has 4. Boron has 5. Carbon has 6. Nitrogen has 7. Oxygen has 8. And so it goes on. Difference of one proton, one proton. Are we saying that this was a random event? Or was this designed in this way? Now, another amazing fact, if we are saying that we have a world of randomness, then we would have had elements of maybe 10 protons, 15 protons, 22 protons. How come we have such a random series? But that's not all. Here we look at the substance on this slide. We look at the substance number 77, iridium. 78 is plutonium. 79 is aurum, which is gold. 80 is mercury. Do we find that platinum is changing into gold and gold is turning into mercury? It doesn't happen. You can keep a lump of gold in your home for as long as you want, and when you come back, it is still going to be gold. It's not going to turn to mercury. And if you buy platinum, it's going to remain platinum. It's been platinum in the ground for thousands of years. It will remain platinum for millions of years to come. That platinum will never become gold. This idea that things can evolve into other elements does not happen. But yes, we do have a process of decay which takes place with radioactive elements. Radioactive elements do decay, and they do change from one to another. But what happens when they decay? They decay from a substance with a higher atomic number to a substance to a lower number. Decay is always a downgrading process, not an upgrading process. So if we are going to say that human beings and monkeys are related because of a process of evolution, it would have to be a downward evolution, that the monkeys actually came from the humans and not the other way around, because science is telling us that decay goes downwards and not upwards. And God is giving us these signs so that we can understand our world and apply it to the whole world. Monkeys could not have become humans. And over here we are seeing elements that are different by only a single proton. And yet they are not evolving into the next. How can we expect a monkey whose genetic composition is thousands or hundreds of genes different from humans migrating and becoming a human being? It's impossible. The periodic table of elements is confirming, 1, that there is order, 2, that we do not have this process of evolution that we're talking about, and that if there was, it would be downwards and not upwards, totally contradicting the theory of evolution. So we have to ask ourselves, these people who promote the theory of evolution are the same people who promote the scientific principle, and they reject religion as if religion and science were two different things altogether in competition with each other. And this is where we are being deceived. Because religion and science are both one and the same thing, using observation and deduction to prove that God exists.